in Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, then 2 more fights in 26. Don't miss with the line.
Turki Al-Sheikh has just shocked the entire boxing world by announcing the most unexpected fight. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. will finally have their long-awaited rematch. Serving as the co-main event on the undercard of Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull, Terence Crawford's side.
Is there ever a possibility where you would rematch Errol Spence? Or is he in a position where he needs to win again before that makes sense for you?
It's been a major talking point among boxing fans. Many hoped he would take a tune-up fight at super welterweight or super middleweight before stepping into the lion's den against Canelo Alvarez. For a while, it seemed Crawford was willing to face Canelo without a tune-up, especially after he posted on social media showing he weighed 186 libs, appearing physically ready. Still, many believe this could be the key difference compared to his fight with Errol Spence Jr. 2 years ago. Back then,
I'm about to take my belt off then.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm gonna do it. Errol,
You don't need more than the belt. I don't know what you talking about. I ain't one of your kids.
I'm
You
gonna
don't
treat
need
you.
more than the belt. I ain't one of your
I'ma
kids.
treat you like one.
Yeah, all right, we gonna see.
All right, we definitely gonna see.
I got feel for his power, probably like first, second round. He's a strong dude, but everybody at this top level have some type of power. But
Crawford fought David Avanesian as a tune-up before stepping into the ring with Spence. On the other hand, Errol Spence Jr. entered the ring without a tune-up fight, and the difference was painfully clear on fight night. He was dropped 3 times before suffering the first defeat of his career, a technical knockout at the hands of Terence Crawford. This became a major concern for many Terence Crawford fans, who feared that the undefeated champion might be risking both his legacy and perfect record by stepping into a fight with Canelo without first facing a 154, 160, or 168-pound opponent.
I think because my time was out, he was catching me in between shots.
I get to say I told y'all because I've been asking for these fights for years, and y'all been saying, "Oh, he's too small. He's gonna get this. He's gonna get broken." And each and every time that I step up,
Crawford's struggles in his super middleweight title bout against Israel Madrimov were evident. The Uzbek fighter was too strong, and Crawford's punches didn't carry the same power they had in the welterweight division, where he had previously won all his fights by knockout.
I mean, I got a lot of skill sets I feel like advantages over him. But at the end of the day, I feel like this fight is basically so even. It's going to be more about just being more focused and, not getting out of focus, especially in the later rounds, just making sure, staying on point all throughout the fight and making sure you don't lose focus, because that's how you end up getting caught.
Madrimov's punches clearly caused Crawford some discomfort, and although he eventually secured the win, many believed he didn't truly deserve it. Now, Crawford has finally lined up a proper tune-up fight, and boxing fans couldn't have asked for a better one. Even though Crawford is heavily favored to win, this rematch of one of the biggest fights in recent boxing history sets the perfect stage as he prepares for the toughest challenge of his career this September. It's everything boxing fans had hoped for, and everything Turki Al-Sheikh promised to deliver.
Should. He didn't do the things that his daddy told him to do. What are you talking about? Even his daddy said it. Even his daddy said it.
you butthurt that I got to.
Even his daddy said it.
You butthurt.
Even Kell Brook, he was already broken.
So was he broken when you fought?
No, he wasn't broken.
How come
I broke the other eye.
He came off of.
I broke the other eye. Yeah, that's how I got broke. That's how I got broke.
He came off a stoppage.
What does it matter?
He came off a stoppage, and then he fought you.
At last, the wait is over. The return of former unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. is finally happening. Spence hasn't laced up the gloves since being stopped by Terence Crawford 2 years ago in their battle for the undisputed 147-pound title. Following that loss, it appeared Spence would be moving up in weight to challenge WBC and WBO light middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora.
What does it matter?
Months prior.
What does it matter?
So was he broken or not?
No, he wasn't broken. No, he wasn't broken.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What are you talking about? I had the same surgery he had, and what happened? So what they say about you then? You fight me then?
I'm gonna break that line.
So what they say? So I'm broken then, right?
Well, you broken. You gonna be broken July 29th.
Yeah.
March 29th was being considered for the matchup, but the plans quickly fell apart, leaving Fundora searching for a new opponent. After news broke that the Fundora fight had fallen through, Spence provided an update on X, writing,
He got the size, he's strong, he's the big bad wolf, you know, so come fight night, we're gonna find out, you know, all that he say he is. He's gonna have to show me.
But this will be your 8th fighter at welterweight.
I'll be back when I'm ready. A clash between Fundora and Spence would have been thrilling, especially after Fundora's breakout performance in a grueling battle against Tim Tszyu last year, where he won by split decision to unify the WBC and WBO 154-pound titles. Turki Alalshik, a passionate boxing fan, had promised that 2025 would deliver multiple world-class matchups. But
And there's the possibility. He win his fight, God willing. I win my fight, God willing. And there's your possibility right there.
crown jewel could be the long-awaited showdown between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, which now appears to be in the works for September. Both fighters reportedly met privately in London last week, away from Turki Alalshik's radar, and it appears they began negotiating terms for the long-anticipated showdown between two of today's top pound-for-pound fighters. The bout is being targeted for Mexican Independence Day weekend in mid-September. According to ESPN's boxing insider Mike Coppinger, from what I'm told, they're in the process of finalizing a deal for a fight in September, Mexican Independence Day weekend, in Las Vegas, with a 168-pound weight limit and no rehydration clause.
I respect Crawford. He's a great fighter, and I always say that no disrespect him. But sometimes it's a little crazy that people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big, which he is big, and everybody's talking about if I'm gonna face Crawford, fighter 147, who is smaller than Charlo.
7 of them have been stopped. Will Errol Spence Jr. get stopped on Saturday night?
I always tell everybody, I don't go in there looking for the knockout. I go looking for the win. But if he get out of line, he's going to be the next one down.
However, there's one significant issue to address. Crawford would need to make an additional 14-pound weight jump to match the weight and category of Canelo Alvarez. Over the years, Canelo has steadily moved up in weight, starting at super welterweight, where he won the WBC title, and later unifying the middleweight division. He briefly ventured into light heavyweight, defeating Sergey Kovalev to claim the IBF belt, before returning to super middleweight, where he became the first undisputed 4-belt champion. Yet former
So no make sense when you guys say that right now. At the end of the day, I don't want to have credit to face Crawford, but you never know. You never know in boxing. I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not?
WBO and WBC light welterweight champion Tim. Bradley doesn't believe either of these two fighters can derail the Bud train. Instead, he feels that Crawford himself is the only man who could end his reign of dominance in the sport. I think the only person who can beat Crawford at this point is himself, Bradley recently told Fight Hype. Madrimov was the champion, and he must be respected, but as far as skill for skill, Crawford all day. I think he'll do well against Canelo. I really do. Would I be nervous if they were to fight? Hell yeah, because Canelo can punch, and all it takes is one big shot. But as long as Crawford uses his legs, his athleticism, and his defense to avoid those punches...
Like you did, Terence, wanting to move up 3 divisions, do you think his skill level is able to bridge the gap in those 3 weight classes? Because we saw how Jermell did against Canelo, and he's 1 weight class above, and he's bigger. How does he fare?
That's a tall order. It's a tough task, I would think, for Terence. But
he should be able to beat Canelo. Interestingly, Bradley believes Crawford can outbox Canelo the way Floyd Mayweather Jr. did 11 years ago when he defeated the Mexican star at the age of 22 in a catchweight fight in 2013. Crawford, now about to turn 37, has never fought above 147 pounds and would be coming up in weight without facing any of the top contenders at 168 first. More fans would likely agree with Bradley if Crawford were to prove himself at 160 against the top contenders, or at 168, to show that he can hang with the best. However, many fans perceive Crawford as being in a rush to secure a huge payday against Canelo and set up a golden parachute for his retirement years. This perception has been fueled by his fight against...
Same time, I would back him. I think that his skill level is up there with the greatest. I don't think we've seen anything like Terence Crawford in all my years of boxing. I know that for a fact. I do study history. I've never seen anybody that has everything. Good speed, power, timing, can switch the way he switches, to have the toughness.
Charlo. Charlo comes in at 154. Tim Bradley said to Fight Hype, reacting to Canelo Alvarez's statement that he's not interested in fighting welterweight Crawford because there's nothing to gain. He moved up a couple of weight divisions to fight Canelo. He got in there and laid an egg. He basically just went in there and survived. He felt like, I'm not on Canelo's level. But the difference is Crawford's mentality. He's a top, pound-for-pound guy, Bradley added. While it's uncertain whether Crawford will perform differently than Jermall Charlo, the fact remains that Crawford has yet to volunteer to test himself against top super middleweights, leaving fans with little reference point. If Crawford chose to prove himself against David Benavidez or David Morrell, fans could feel confident that he was showing up to fight, not just for the payday against Canelo. Since Crawford has no intention of fighting anyone at 168 before facing Canelo.
That he has, the way he finishes guys, the way he breaks down guys. He's one of the smartest guys that I've ever seen in the ring. Right up there with Floyd Mayweather. So, yeah, I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way.
It's hard to see this as anything other than a money move. Charlo was never a top pound-for-pound guy, said Bradley. The skill set of Crawford is what makes him who he is. He's a competitor, man, and he's been after Canelo. He wants to fight Canelo, and I think he'll do well against him. I really do. Am I nervous about the fight? Hell yeah, because Canelo can punch. That dude can hit, and all it takes is one shot. But just like we saw with Floyd Mayweather in 2013, when Canelo was 22 years old, Mayweather was able to outbox him and outthink him. Crawford is capable of doing the same. Bradley uses Mayweather as an example to support his argument that Crawford can give up significant size against Canelo and still beat him. However, it's worth noting that Canelo fought a welterweight Mayweather at 154 pounds.
I don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So,
is it like a skill set? Is it like a preparation thing, or?
Nope, I'm not. Just gonna put it like this: if the fight was to happen, you will see. Yeah.
Because a lot of people think Terence can compete, but once he touches Canelo, because he's been hit by bigger guys, he's not gonna. I don't want to say.
Not a scenario where Mayweather moved up to 168 and faced a prime Canelo at full strength. Still, Bradley believes Crawford has the tools to succeed. I think Crawford has the ability to outbox him, outthink him, make him miss, and make him pay, said Bradley. As long as he's not taking too many punches and uses his legs, his athleticism, and his defense to stay out of the way, he should be able to beat Canelo. Canelo is slow and methodical in his approach. He has a good jab, decent quickness, and throws a lot of hooks. Crawford helps.
But he's going to be able to go, okay, I could walk through this. I could take a little risk and set up my traps, cut the ring off, dig to the body, and wear Terence down over the rounds.
I'm just going to tell you like this. Yeah. If Canelo couldn't knock out Charlo, or you really think that he's going to knock out Crawford? Charlo was on his bike. Charlo was trying not to get hit. Canelo landed some shots. He dropped them, but he still didn't stop him. He didn't stop him. So,
however, just avoids all of that and gets underneath it. He should be able to beat Canelo, Bradley explained. We're basing it on what Charlo was able to do, but Charlo didn't do anything. He was scared. He didn't want to get knocked out. I don't blame him. I understand not wanting to end up on a poster. But when you say you want to be great, you weren't great that night. Crawford is daring to be great, and I think he can do it. Interview succinct.
being said, if Crawford can get off, not get hit with the big shots, avoid those big shots, get off again, avoid those big shots, because you see the punches coming. Canelo is so predictable, dude. You know a hook is coming. You know when the right hand is coming. You know he's going down to the body. He gives it away. There's a tail with him. There really is. And it's usually off the high guard. He comes in, he marches forward, then boom. Crawford's going to be able to see all of that.
While Canelo hasn't paid much attention to the challenge, the fans certainly have, and opinions are divided on what will happen. However, Sean Porter, who knows Crawford's capabilities well, admits he's concerned. It's a tough fight to predict, no doubt, said Porter. Just look at Crawford's dominant performance.
Turn into kind of like a UFC system. How is it now you working with guys like Turkey?
I think, Turkey is great for boxing. He's stirring the boxing game up and, making all the fights that the fans want to see. He's a big fan, so he's able and capable of doing things.
Performance against an elite-level boxer like Errol Spence Jr. Just last year, His Excellency Turki Alalshik made headlines when he boldly told ESPN, "Boxing is broken." A bold statement, right? But he wasn't just talking. He was taking action. Since 2022, the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority has been pouring his passion and significant financial resources into the sport.
Today marks our final day in boxing. I want to thank everyone who has been a part of this journey with me. To my dear friends scheduled to fight on the London and New York cards, I apologize for the time and effort you put into training camp. I wish you the best of luck in your future fights, as those events have now been officially canceled.
The promoters can't and don't want to do. A lot of fights that we want to see, but we don't want to pay for.
Right.
He's paying it. He's paying the fighters what they want.
Smiling a little different nowadays.
No, I'm just saying. I've been smiling good.
You've been eating good. You smile
full of gold. You go all gold, all gold.
Nah.
As a result, he's made Riyadh the go-to destination for major fights, from Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev III for the undisputed light heavyweight title, to absolute blockbusters like Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua's clashes with Daniel Dubois and Francis Ngannou. Alalshik has played a pivotal role in reshaping the boxing landscape.
Turkey. End of the quote. Nah, I ain't no genius, but coincidentally today is April Fool's, and I believe this is a big April Fool's joke. With that being said, there's no doubt about it, Turkey has brought boxing back to life on certain weeks.
How relaxed his shoulders is back there on the couch.
See, this is the thing. Like, man, I got a lot of investments, a lot of smart investments, So coming up, I was smart with my money. So a lot of people